Monday evening. It's cold out. I went over to Morrison's, wasn't going to go, thought about it, shall I, shan't I, and decided that I would go, so I did. And I spent £4.52. So what did I get? Mixed batch today, useful stuff, no treats. We have extra fine beans, these were £1.50 down to 45p. More veg, that's good. A selection of cheese. There was quite a lot of cheese in the discount clearance. The fridges didn't have a lot on them. It wasn't anything really that I particularly wanted, but there was cheese. So I have a big piece of Belton's cheese. This was £2.16 down to 54p, so that's good. I really shouldn't have bought this. This is a piece of goat's cheese. It's small. It was £1.50 down to 38p, but I love goat's cheese. Don't see it very often. I almost put it back and then I thought, 38p. And I got the cranberry Wensleydale ring, whatever they call it. This is really nice, this. This was £4.03 down to £1 and a penny. So I got that. I also managed to get a dozen eggs. These are the Savers free range eggs. These were £1.10 down to 88p each. You can never have enough eggs, that's for sure. And I bought a loaf of bread, a big loaf of bread. Now, I wouldn't have bothered picking this up today, but I've already bought avocados. So I've got 4 avocados, and avocado toast is very nice. So it's either that or I'll just eat avocado straight out the skin, because what else am I going to do with an avocado? They don't work very well in stir fries. So this is a large white bloomer. This was £1.50 down to 38p. There's a lot there. I think I'm going to cut this in half and put half in the freezer. I've got a bit of space at the moment, because that's a lot of bread. And I can toast that up. I've got my cheese, so I can have cheese on toast. I can have scrambled egg on toast. And I've got my avocados. So that works out well for me. So as usual, I shall put up how much that cost if I bought it all full price, how much I saved by buying it on yellow sticker, and that is the end of a chilly Monday. I am going to get into all my layers, my hot water bottle, and veg out for the evening. That works for me. Today is Wednesday. It is so cold. It's horrible. I'm not even in winter yet. Yesterday, obviously being Tuesday, and yesterday was a complete washout. I woke up feeling worse than when I got to bed. I was so tired. I had a bit of a headache, and I don't know if I slept too heavily or I didn't sleep enough. I wasn't aware that I had been awake more than usual, although I never sleep through the night. I usually wake up 3 or 4 times a night to go to the toilet, and that's another joy of menopause, is that you constantly want to go to the toilet. And my hand is still playing up because of my shoulder. Every time I think that it's getting a bit better, I slack on the exercises and then I regret it. So I know I've got to keep doing the exercises even when it starts to feel better. But incrementally, it is starting to feel better. Like today, there's hardly any numbness at all, but it comes and goes, so I need to keep up with the exercises. Very bad of me. So yesterday was a washout. I didn't get very much done at all. I did go out and do some errands in the morning. I thought if I get out into the fresh air and walk about, that'll help, and it didn't. And because I wasn't feeling on top form, I felt the cold more than usual. So it was me, a hot water bottle, and then about 9 o'clock in the evening, I felt a lot better. Typical. If I have a rough day, I guarantee by the time I go to bed, I feel like I'm ready to do stuff. Anyway, so yesterday was a bit of a washout, but you know, it is what it is. This morning I've woken up feeling better than I was yesterday, but I'm not back on top form. I have been busy though. So I had a vintage sale yesterday, and I've taken that to the shop this morning already. I've done that. I've sorted out some bills. My fluid balance transfer card has arrived. I've been able to activate that, so when I get home later, I'm going to do the balance transfers on those 2 credit cards I still have, and I shall talk to you about that so you know how that works. And I was investigating whether or not I could overwinter tomato plants, because I mean all my tomato plants have died bar one, and it was the cherry tomato one that my mum bought me earlier in the year, and it never produced any fruit. It's still flowering, that's the annoying thing, but it hasn't produced any fruit. So I had a look, and apparently the cherry varieties and ones that are genetically indeterminate or something, you can overwinter them. So I've brought it in. I have cut it back because you're supposed to cut all the flowers and the suckers off and all that sort of thing. And so I now have a tomato plant indoors, and I'm going to see what happens, because I don't know. So I'm just on my way to my Wednesday clean via Sainsbury's, because there's some things they want. It's nothing I want, so I'm just going to go in for them. Nice to get into a warm store. It's not nice. So we've been catching up on productivity today, where we completely failed yesterday. But I did have a little bit of a, when I came back from running all my errands yesterday, when I went out to walk, I did have a little bit of a tidy up in the garden. A lot of it is still very green, and I don't want to mess around with the soil, etc., because we've had some very cold nights, and the bugs are going into their kind of semi-hibernation now, so I don't want to disturb them because it will kill them. So I pulled up a few bits which were very dead and wasn't going to disturb the soil too much, and I've put all the canes away and things like that, but I haven't done very much. I'm not going to mess around with it for now, because everything's like hunkering down and I don't want to ruin it. We were supposed to have snow last night, which didn't materialise, and the weather said it would be here like 9-10 o'clock this morning, and that hasn't materialised, but we are still due snow. I was going to go on a hike tomorrow, because I just want to I'd like to get one more hike in before the end of the year, and it was going to be a beautiful day tomorrow, 3 degrees, it's going to be cold, but it was blue sky, sun all day, and that has now shifted to Friday, so I suspect that's going to shift from Friday to whenever, so I don't think I'm going to get that in, but we'll keep an eye on the weather, and if we do get a good day on Friday still, I will take advantage of that, because I would like to go out and do one last hike, get my layers on and go and get sorted. Anyway, so I have arrived at Sainsbury's, so I'm going to get in there and do what I need to do, and let's get on with the day. It's Thursday morning. It's quite a nice morning actually. It is absolutely freezing. It was -2 last night. Thick frost on the cars. I'm not going out there. I have lots of things to get done indoors today. Apparently the weather was going to be horrible today, according to my weather app, so I didn't plan for hiking, and it looks like I probably could have planned for hiking because it's really nice, but it's too late now. Also, the idea of having to get myself up and out by 9 AM in the morning when it's -2. Not fun, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. I still have time to go hiking. I went to Morrison's last night when I went off to do my evening clean, and there wasn't really anything in. And as I was walking out, I went down the fruit aisle, which I sometimes do, and I suddenly saw fruit on discount. Don't often see a lot of that. So I bought, there were grapes. They're the Savour ones, so they're small grapes, but they taste really nice actually. Sometimes they can be a bit tart, but these ones aren't. These were £1 down to 25p for quite a decent sized punnet actually for grapes. So I bought 3 of those because you can't have enough grapes. And I have a bunch of bananas that are looking pretty rough. For some reason they've aged really badly, the ones I got this week. Was it this week? I think I got them on Monday. And so I'm going to make a big old banana cake this afternoon. I'm going to chop out all the bits that need using urgently, and I'm going to put those in, and then I'm just going to eat the bits that are okay. So between that, that'll probably be most of the bunch actually. I don't know what happened to these bananas. Anyway, so something else that happened yesterday in the evening, I thought, it's getting to the point now where I need to get the thermal pyjamas out. So I have all my like winter indoor wear, like loungewear and stuff, in a underbed storage bag. It's a small bag, and it's just like it sucks all the air out so it flattens out. And I found the bag, found the thermal pyjama bottoms that I wanted, which I wish I pulled them out a week ago. They're so warm, they're lovely, they really make a difference. And then forgot I had actual winter loungewear that I still owned. I'd forgotten I even had it. And it's that pair of green fluffy loungewear trousers that I wore for most of last winter when I was indoors, and they make a real difference because the ones I have been wearing are quite thin cotton, like summery ones. So I pulled all that out, so that should make a big difference to me being at home in the cold. And yeah, that should make a bit of a difference now. So I was really pleased to have those on last night, I can tell you. The sun's just poked out through the clouds, and it's really nice actually. It's not bad. It's nice not to have the rain and the wind. It's still and sunny. And that's why it's so cold, because we've had no cloud cover overnight. Anyway, so I have a whole bunch of things that I need to get done today. I've been trying to narrow down present lists for Christmas, and I was doing some research on a couple of things that I wanted to get my dad, because my dad's always the hardest to buy for. And I'm a practical present buyer, so if I know someone has a need for something that's going to solve a problem in their life, I'll probably get that first rather than any luxury stuff. And my parents can afford as much luxury stuff as they like. So I've been trying to get hold of some socks for my dad, which I know just sounds really weird. My dad has like really, really sore feet. So before he had his hip replaced, he'd basically pretty much stopped walking around because it was so painful to walk around. And he ended up with a lot of fluid on his lower legs and his feet. And he has arrhythmia, so his heart doesn't work as efficiently as it should. So all this fluid gathered. And after he had his hip done and he was walking around, it went really fast because it was just his mobility. But he also has collapsed arches in his feet, so his feet are really bad anyway. And they're so bad that he can't have the duvet on his feet at night. It's too sore. So he has his feet sticking out the end and he has socks on. But my dad also suffers from the cold really badly. He had cancer treatment quite a long time ago now. But since then, he hasn't been able to regulate his body temperature properly and he gets really cold. So he's got regular socks on, but it's too cold at night. So I've been looking for proper socks. So he needs really, really stretchy socks. And I found a specialist company which specialises in socks for people who have had erythema and things like that. And they have these extra wide, stretchy thermal socks. So I think I'm going to get those. They're quite pricey, but he'll only need a pair because they're only for like literally wearing in bed. So we should be all right with that. And I wanted to get him an extra long shoehorn. So he struggles to get these shoes on because of his feet, and he can't bend very well now. He's quite stiff in the body. So he has this little shoehorn which is about this long, and he struggles to get down to put them on and all this sort of thing. And then he gets annoyed. And I did buy him an extra long one a couple of years back, but I bought the wrong one. I bought a really nice handmade one on Etsy, but it was wood. And a few months later, we snapped it, which was really annoying because that cost money. Anyway, so when I was looking for the socks and things, I came across this company that does all these essential aids. I think it's called essentialaids.com. And they have these extra long shoehorns. They're 2 foot long. And it's a plastic one, so it's going to have more bend in it. So I'm going to get that. They're on discount at the moment, so they're really, really cheap. So I'm going to buy that, or I've just bought that one. And they have a really good returns policy. They've got like a 60-day returns policy for Christmas presents. So I'm hoping that if he decides like, oh, don't want it. Because my dad, he likes the solutions, but he doesn't like to admit he needs the solutions. He gets very annoyed that he needs help with things because he's getting old. He's 80 in February, for heaven's sake. Of course he needs a bit of help. And he gets annoyed by that, and he doesn't like anyone to admit, or him to admit, that he needs help with things. So you're getting things like that, and he's like, ooh, and then he finds they're useful. So I'm trying to doing everything with returns in mind, so that I don't waste my money. And the same with the socks. I'm going to have to hold on and buy them at the end of the month because they only have a 30-day returns policy. And I don't want to get them and he goes, oh, don't like them. Because he's very particular about what he likes. So it's always a challenge, always an interesting challenge, but I'm hoping that we might have cracked 2 this year. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Anyway, so those are tasks that I have today to finish off. And that will be 2 things off my difficult. Those are the very difficult things off my hit list. I was going to buy my brother. I always get him a lager selection, and the supermarkets are always really good about having local brands, so local breweries, and you can pick up the individual bottles and mix and match. None of them are there this year. They've all gone. All those really cool brands that I used to buy. There's a few in large bottle sizes, like, I don't know, they must be like 1.5 pints or something. They're quite big bottles. And the others, they've got 1 or 2 of the other local brands, and they're doing cans in 4-packs. So I can't get him a mix and match. I'm really annoyed about that. I've been in 2 supermarkets and I can't get them. Because I wanted to get them in Sainsbury's, because I wanted to get them on Nectar points. Really frustrating. I wonder if I can get them online. I might have a look online, see if I can do a click and collect. There might be in other stores. It's really, really annoying because they used to have a really good local craft lager selection. He only drinks lager. He doesn't drink ale or bitter or beer. It has to be lager. And those are the ones they aren't doing. The pale ales and the bitters and all that sort of thing. They've got loads of different ones of those, but they're not doing it in the lagers, which is really annoying. So I'm going to have to... I don't know what else to get him. He's also difficult to buy. And the things he does want, Mum and Dad tend to get him because it tends to be something more specialised and expensive, like for his bike or something like that. Anyway, challenges, all challenges. So let's get on. Had a change of plan this morning. I had an email come through from Find a Grave, where people can put in requests for pictures of graves that they can't visit, like family members, and maybe the family live in Australia or, you know, aren't mobile enough to come and see where their relative has been laid to rest. And there was one from my local cemetery, and what really caught my eye about it is that she was born in the town I went to college in. And I thought, why not? Let's go and have a look. The weather's gorgeous. A little bit annoyed that I missed my hiking opportunity. Today would have been absolutely perfect for hiking. But at least I'm getting out. I've got my proper winter puffer coat on. And I've got my thermal gloves on. We have officially reached that stage. It's only the 20th of November. It really does feel like winter rather than autumn, except for all the leaves that are lying around. So there isn't a grave number for this person, but she only died a year ago. So if she's been buried, unless she's in a family grave, I know roughly where she will be because there's a new section. Otherwise I've got no idea where to look. And if she's in the Garden of Remembrance, she'll be, if she's got a plaque, it will be in the new section again. So, and if I don't find her, I don't find her. At least I got out, and that's the important thing. So I'm going to go see if I can find her, and then we'll walk the perimeter of the cemetery because the old cemetery is lovely. It's very naturey and quiet. So that'll be nice. Aeroplane. So let's go and see what we can find. So I couldn't find her. There are lots of gaps where there are no gravestones in that area, which is perhaps no surprise because it's only a year old. And nothing on the Garden of Remembrance plaques either. So I will let them know I haven't been able to find her. And so if you have the number, or if she's in a family grave somewhere else, let me know. I couldn't find anyone else in the cemetery with her surname or her maiden surname. So that's the end of that. So I'm just having a little walk in the cemetery. It's very, very frosty here. Have a look at this. Excuse the planes. It's a great place to come if you just want to get into nature. There's a lot of nature all around here. This cemetery borders on a nature reserve, so nature spills over into the cemetery. And although it's well kept, it still has a lot to offer nature. So there's a lot of berry trees and big thick trees that birds can roost in, and you can hear the parakeets, which are everywhere in the country now. I've got to keep walking, it's really cold. If you could see them, they're right in front of me, right in the centre picture. They're so noisy. I think I'm going to head home now. It's not much of a walk, but it gets me out for, I don't know, I think it's less than an hour. Didn't take me long to try and find that grave. So it's got me moving, which is good. Had some fresh air. This is very fresh today. I'm going to head back, finish my little jobs that I needed to do. I have got a video to record for my business channel, which I might do tomorrow now. I want to make that, or prepare that banana cake, so I can put that on in the afternoon. And try and think if there's anything else I can bake as well, so I make the most of the electricity. My energy bill was up this month, even though I haven't used more energy, and that's because the prices went up on the 1st of October. So every time the oven goes on, it has to be well used. Because it's ridiculous how much things cost now. Right. There's a chilly wind picking up. Wow, that's cold. Right. Let's get home. Make a cup of tea. It's Friday morning. It is -3 at 9:30 in the morning, and I'm going on a hike. The weather hung in there. The beautiful Thursday that I thought I was going to get, and then did get and missed, has turned into the same for Friday. So yeah, I'm going on a hike. I'm sat in the car at the moment, just warming up the engine so I can defrost, because it's thick frost all the way around all the windows. You can see from there, look, those windows not looking good. And I shall put bits of it onto my personal channel here, so you can get the highlights, and then you can go over if you want to and watch the whole thing. Hopefully it'll be a good one, and yeah, see you there. So here we are. It is really frosty this morning. It is I think we've just reached 0 degrees. It was -3 this morning. I can't tell if that's frost or snow on the hills. There's the Clobridge Reservoir. Like a mill pond. It's so still. Look at this ice. Whoops, almost went over. That's really slippery. Wow. So I am back at the car. That was invigorating, I think is the phrase I would use for that. It is 1:30 and you can already feel the sun is starting to go down. That was an amazing hike. I'm so pleased I did that. It's blown out a few cobwebs and I was nice and toasty warm in all my layers, which was good. I think I actually like hiking in this weather better than in the summer, because in the summer it's really hot and sweaty and you get sunburn, and in the winter, like when I was out there was a point where I had to undo my coat because I was so warm. It was really cool finding those old houses. So if you go over onto my walking channel, you'll be able to see the houses that I found today, and I'll put a bit of history up about them on that as well. Right, I'm going to get the heater on in the car. I'm going to head home. Today it's Monday. I didn't record over the weekend. Just didn't have much going on. I did cleaning jobs and not an awful lot else happened really. I was just doing admin and editing Friday's hike video, which is now up online, I think. Go to my channel. The weather has improved. The temperatures have gone up a bit. The first way I know that is that I have no condensation on the inside of my windows, and it makes the evening less cold. And some people were suggesting in the comments of my last video that I should get an electric blanket, because I was talking about my hot water bottle. I think I was talking about the hot water bottle and all my layers. And the problem with the electric blanket is that the most important thing at the moment for me is keeping energy bills down. I put my direct debit up by £10 last month for my dual fuel energy, that's gas and electric, and it's still not going to cover the winter bills, because my last bill actually came in at £46. I think it was £46.63. It's 46 something, and that is the maximum that I can really manage in terms of my dual fuel. And most of that goes on the standing charge, so I'm not even using a lot of energy. I'm just being fleeced by the energy companies, as we all are. So I use a hot water bottle. I don't have an electric kettle, so I boil it on the hob with a hob kettle, which is great. That means I am using gas, which is cheaper than electric, and I'm only using the actual amount of water that I need rather than filling a kettle. Because what I do is I keep the water in the hot water bottle, and then when I want to warm up the hot water bottle, I tip the water from the bottle into the kettle and I fill exactly the amount I need, so I'm not wasting water either. And so I've had my hot water bottle, I think this one I've had a couple of years. I do have another one because they do have a habit of suddenly developing leaks, so you need to be careful. But the combination of the hot water bottle, the thermal pyjamas, my big fleecy sushi hoodie, which is absolutely vital right now, means that I can, even when it dropped down to -3 the other night, I can still get away with not putting on my heating, because I cannot afford for that energy bill to go up anymore. And so if I buy an electric blanket is going to cost me probably at least the value, a good one, say for instance, is going to cost me at least the value of 1 month's energy, like my entire bill, my gas, electric, standing charges, the whole lot. So that means I'm then a month down, and then there's running the thing. Now I know that people say, oh, they only cost 1.5p to run per hour, but if I have that on and if it's just there, I will just use it. So let's say I use that in winter without the heating on. Maybe that's on 4 or 5 hours a day. Per day, added to my existing bill, that means my bill has gone right up. And if you're doing that right through the winter. I find the hot water bottle quite acceptable. It works for me. Once I'm warm, it'll keep me warm for several hours because I've got the other layers on as well. So for me, an electric blanket is a huge false economy, because using the hot water bottle penny for penny is cheaper than running an electric blanket. And I've been doing this like this since I've been in this flat. So that's almost 8 years that I have been. I think I've only had the boiler on in 2 or 3 winters maybe. There was a winter I think it was 2 years ago. It wasn't last year, where we hit -8, which was horrific. And I had to have it on for that, obviously, because it was ridiculous. But I'm in a flat. Beneath me I have another flat. They've got their heating on full blast. I can tell by how wet their windows are. And I have my hallway is sandwiched between the 2 downstairs flats. So I'm getting some heating out of that, because when I open that middle door to the hallway, I can feel the warmth. So I often open that up just to take the edge off. I don't know if it makes any difference, but you know, it's free heat, I'll take that. I've got a curtain on my front door to keep the heat in from that, so that helps. The weather's going to be a little bit kinder for the next week. We have one cold snap coming I think it's tomorrow night, which is going to be, I think, -1. But we're going to have some much milder days and nights, so things will feel better, because I've been used to being in the flat with it being -3 outside on a couple of occasions, and then -1 a few more times. Anything like last night, it was 4 degrees outside, no minus temperatures at all, and the difference that makes to my evening is huge. So when I was on my hike on Friday, and I was thinking about how all these people would have lived in past centuries coping with the weather, and just like animals in the wild, where they just prepare for it, they hunker down and they just get on with it. That's how I feel. People today have very cushy lives in many ways. We expect to be able to run our heating 24 hours a day in winter. We expect to be warm. We expect everything to be easy. And I don't mind that little bit of hardship in winter, because it really has made me appreciate when the weather changes. So as soon as you get those first signs of spring, I notice it, and I feel this enormous uplift in my mood, because I know that spring is on the way, and you can feel it arriving, and it makes spring particularly a very joyous season. And when you look at how happy nature gets when spring arrives and the winter is finally over. We've had a very hard November compared to normal Novembers. I don't know if that means we're going to have a really bad winter, or we're going to have a milder winter, but I'm just going to have to get on with it. Now, my January, February and March fuel bills are going to be slightly better, because I'm going to be away for Christmas, then I've got to be away for a bit in February, I'll be away for a bit in March, so there will be whole weeks where I'm not using as much energy at home, so my bills will be less through winter than they will have been through autumn. And I plan that on my spreadsheet, so I can see how many days I'm away. I can use that to gauge how that's going to change, and that's helpful, because our energy bills went up again at the beginning of October, and they are going up again at the beginning of January. They only put them up when the weather gets bad, because they know how to make money out of us, and you have no choice. So I'm glad that those winter bills are going to be slightly cheaper by comparison, because there will be chunks of time when I'm not around, and I can just not use the energy, or use less energy. There won't be as much on while I'm away, because obviously fridges and freezers still need to be on, but there will be less things going on. So that helps to balance that out. So as long as I can get through the next couple of months, the rest of this month and December before I go away, with minimal usage where possible, I should be okay. Because I can see at the moment that although I've put my my direct debit up, it's not going to cover bills if they continue at the current rates. So my bill is now up to £50. I have never paid £50 a month for gas and electric ever in any of the places I've ever lived in. Ridiculous. This is the most expensive it's ever been. And I need to look at that chart, and I'll put that up here actually. So I've just arrived for my Monday morning cleaning job. Afterwards I'm going to go to Sainsbury. I've got a list of, I want to start buying some of those Christmas presents I'm going to get on Nectar, so I'm going to go in and do that afterwards. And then when I get home I will show you what I've got, and yeah, you can see how I'm balancing the cost of Christmas. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Okay, so I am back from my clean. I came back via Sainsbury, and today I have done the first batch of my in-store Christmas shopping. I've already bought a few things online, so I've managed to get my mum all the things. There was one thing I think I was going to get her, and then there were two things, because I said, is there anything you want? And there were two things she wanted, so she sorted. My dad is sorted. I've got one thing to buy, but I know what I'm getting. So today I've been tackling some of the stuff that I can get on Nectar points to try and keep the bill down, because prices, it's a joke. Now, I'm shopping with Nectar points. I've been saving up my Nectar points. I got to, I think it was £83 this morning I had in Nectar points on my account. And I'm basically using these to buy stuff that I can get in the shops, because I need to keep this bill down. So, first thing I bought is for my brother. I always get him a little lager selection, and I've mentioned before about how they've wiped the shelves of all the individual lager bottles that were from local breweries. They've all gone. Well, most of them have gone. All that's left is some packs, like cans packs, which is not a selection, it's one drink. And then they had a few which were the larger bottles. So I've gone down that route. My brother only drinks lager. He doesn't drink craft beer or pale ale or anything like that. So I can't get any of those. There were loads of those everywhere, but he doesn't drink any of that, of course. So I've had to go for it. I'd normally buy him normal sized half pint bottles and get him 6 different ones. And then there would always be some kind of, you know, buy 3 for and buy 4 and get 1 free, that sort of thing. And they haven't done that this year. So I had a look in Morrison's. Morrison's was pretty dreadful. And I've had a look in Sainsbury, exactly the same situation, exactly the same ones available. So I've just gone down that route, and I've just got what I can, because I can't afford to be spending a fortune on stuff that, you know, he hasn't requested particular brands, so I don't know what he really likes. Anyway, so one that I always manage to get him is Camden Hells. So these are the bigger bottles. These are all you can get in individual bottles now. So I've got him one of those. I got him a Brewdog, because that's a local one, and that was available. And then for another one, I topped it up with an Estrella. But they're all those big size bottles. You can't get 1 glass bottles anymore. It's just ridiculous. So these were on offer at it was 3 for £6.50. So I saved on the price of those 3 £2.05. And what else did I get? So then I'm on to my best friend. Always get her some bits and pieces. Very hard to buy for. Tend to go rather generic on Christmas. And then I make her something for her birthday. Her birthday is 2 days before Christmas. So everything happens at once. So I'm making her something. I'm making her a decorated jar. And I'm not sure whether it's going to be a candle jar yet or a storage jar. She does a lot of crafts. So if I make a storage jar, she'll have something to put things in. But I might do it as a candle jar. And that means I need to get a candle and get the other things to go with it. So I'm going to have a look in the shops tomorrow. I only buy them soy candles. They can't have normal candles because the whole household has asthma. So I tried to do that. Couldn't get that in Sainsbury at all. There were no soy candles. Loads and loads of candles, no soy candles. And none of the other things that I wanted to go with it. So I'm going to go and have a look in Poundland tomorrow, and we'll probably end up having to buy that. But I've got her some. So this is her Christmas present. So first of all, we have this hand cream minis, which comes with a twist key. Those are metal, those, and you twist them. Do you remember how you used to always twist them with a key to get the last of the stuff out? These were £9. They were £4.50 with Nectar. So that's that. discounted. I got these nail files. Really cute little pattern on those. I like those. Those were £2.50. And then we had this Vaseline set of lip balms, because you know you need your stuff for winter, and they were £9.50 down to £4.75. So that's that. Now I'm looking at these and thinking, wow, what great deals, but there's no way the supermarkets will be letting these go out without making their profit margin. So they've already factored in these discounts, either with the brands, because I certainly know that, say if a fashion brand has a sale, let's say you go into Debenhams and they're doing a 50% off sale, and you see something by let me think, Gucci, let's take a brand, and it's 50% off. The store doesn't lose the money on that, because once that sells, they go back to the brand and said, this only sold for 50%, we want the rest of the money back. So it's the brands that miss out, not the shops. So whether Vaseline misses out on that, I don't know. And then for my sister-in-law, I always buy her generic stuff as a bathroom set and maybe a bottle of wine or something. But they're doing all these deals on these little ready-made cans of cocktails at the moment, so I thought I'd get her a few of those. So this brand is called Funkin, and they're nitro cocktails. It's not dangerous, they're on the shelf. So we have a strawberry daiquiri here, we have a pina colada, we have a passion fruit martini, and we have an apple sour martini there. These were £2.25 each, apart from this one, which was £2.35, and that was a 4 for 3, so I got £2.25 off on that. And then to make it up to the amount so I could get I could spend the Nectar points, because you spend in £2.50 increments, I'd already bought bananas because I needed those were £1 anyway. And then I spotted these egg noodles, which were £1.15 down to 28p, so that's lunch sorted tomorrow. I bought 1 loose broccoli. Last week these were £1.05, now they're £1.11, which was not impressive. And then I had to find 1p to get to the next £2.50. I was 1 pence short. So I went round the store and found the cheapest thing I could find, which was going to be useful to me, which was a pack of custard creams. There's my treat. And those were, what were they? They were 40p. So today, I'll put up there what I would have spent full on all the gifting stuff, because I need to calculate how much I have saved. It doesn't tell me on here. They usually tell you. Oh no, here we are. My savings promotions today. I saved £13.55 on the gifting items, with the 4 for 3 and the 3 for £6.50 and all that sort of thing. So I've saved £13.55, which is like 2 or 3 presents for other people, practically. So that all came to £27.89 for everything, including the things I bought for myself. And with my Nectar card, I spent 39p. 39p, which I put on my Barclay card, which I don't have to pay off until August 2027. Now, that is how you do Christmas. I still have £55 left on my Nectar card, and I'm still doing surveys, so I will still be boosting that by £5 every time I get to the cash out limit. And that is how I do Christmas. That's the only way I can do it. So I have already spent money on actual things, because for my mum and my dad, they've asked for things that I couldn't get there. So money has been spent, but this makes a massive discount. And as I go along, more things that I buy, I've still got more stuff I need to do at Sainsbury, probably, and other things. And I will keep showing you any discounts I get. And at the end, I'm going to show you what I would have spent entirely on Christmas if I just bought everything, how much I've saved by using Nectar points, and all that sort of thing, so you can see how much I've saved. That's quite, I mean, have a look at this. So this is what £27.89 looks like. but add on the £13.55 that I saved in deals. That's not a lot, is it? The prices are just scary. When you're desperately trying to keep a budget down and you do feel that there is some kind of pressure or obligation or expectation for presents. I mean, I've got my best friend, birthday and Christmas. I already don't buy for her two sons, who are my godsons, because they get everything they want, but also I can't afford to keep doing this. I don't buy for her partner. He doesn't need anything that I can possibly give him. I then have my parents, I have my brother and my sister-in-law, and I have their 3 children who are under 10. So it's a lot of people to buy when you're on a very small budget. And when you know that most of what you're buying for people, they either don't need or could much more easily afford themselves. My brother and sister-in-law do struggle, but they get a lot of help from my mum and dad. They're both working, they both have incomes, they get a lot of help all over the place because her parents help out as well. So it's not quite as desperate for them, but it's not great. My parents can buy anything they want, anything I buy them they could easily do themselves. And I know that, well, that's not the point, it's Christmas, it's presents. I know that. But, I'm able to be quite savvy and budget, but if you're not, if you don't have access to the kind of ways that I do things, you have just spent like best part of 40 quid and not knowing where your money has just gone. So anyway, so I'm going to wrap up here. That's the end of this week. That's quite enough for one week. I'm going to go and recover, and I'm going to eat some custard creams because they're mine. And I'm going to put all this stuff aside. I've got a little corner of the flat where I'm putting all the presenty based stuff, and at some point I'll have to start wrapping, but it's still, what is it today? It's the 24th of November today when I'm finishing this. So still plenty of time, still have some things to get. But once I get to this point and I've done that first shop in a store, I feel, okay, I've broken the back of Christmas shopping now. I can stop worrying so much, because I think Christmas doesn't start until the 1st of December. So Christmas has been rammed down our throats since October, and I'm already sick of it. And we haven't even got past Black Friday yet. I mean, just ridiculous. And Halloween. Halloween was pushed out before they started putting all the Christmas stuff out, and Halloween hadn't been and gone. They were clearing the shelves of Halloween. Ridiculous. Anyway, so that's it. I'm going to go off and do stuff, get all this stuff on my spreadsheet so I know what I'm tracking, and speak to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.